Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build and run a SaaS. I'm Benedikt.
And I'm Brian. Each week, we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we work on our products and keep the lights on by selling bikes on Craigslist. Today is September 1st, and I am feeling resilient.
This is episode number 56, and I'm refactoring things.
You kind of broke the rules there. How is refactoring things making you feel?
I enjoy refactoring things.
Good deal. What are you refactoring specifically?
As I said, I'm working on the new company's filtering feature.
Yep.
And I decided to just refactor the entire filter UI and the filter, the underlying language that is sent back and forth between the server and the client. Because adding new complex filter types like this, stuff that's nested in a company for a particular user, always was it was super hard to build those, especially in the UI. And I decided to just rip it out, rebuild it from scratch. I already had a prototype that I started working on in January, so I had a new idea how to do this, and I decided this was the time to just get rid of it and rebuild it from scratch with the same functionality, but way cleaner code. And it's working out. I was able to basically rebuild all existing filter types within the last 2 days.
Nice. Wow.
And previously they took a week each or something like that.
Yeah. Nice, man.
So
that's successful. It's a nice job.
Yeah, and I hope having cleaner code and simpler code makes it easier to just add way more filter types in the future. Mm-hmm. Filter by who's active in what campaign or stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that we don't do, and I shied away from implementing them because so far it's been a nightmare.
Yeah, tough. I was getting ready to ask that. Are there things that people have asked for, or that that you and Jane know that you need to provide, but you're like, ugh, that's seriously.
Yeah, for the most part, it's okay. We don't get that many requests for stuff, but there's so much we could do, but
because you store so many attributes and things.
Yeah, we store so many data, and it made sense to clean this up to be on a better position for the future, and especially as this is this component is reused throughout the entire applications in multiple occasions, for segments, for filtering the user list, for specifying rules on messages, to specify triggers. It's basically everywhere, so it made sense to improve this so we can iterate on it in the future.
Yeah. Cool, man. How was your last week? No, you were welcome back.
Thank you.
How was everything?
I enjoyed your solo episode, and especially could relate to your struggles with keyword research and stuff like that. I think I'm in the same boat. I still haven't fully figured it out. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at those lists, but then I'm this is a popular search term, but it doesn't make any sense. What should I write for this? Mm-hmm. So yeah, could totally relate to that struggle. But my vacation was nice. Stayed away from things for most of the week. I think we did one call with Asia during the week, which I attended. But other than that, I stayed away, and it was nice to see that stuff was happening without me. Jane published, I think, 6 or 7 new pages on the website within a day. Cool. This was super exciting to see. Right. For one, that there's progress, and for another, that she's comfortable working with the new website setup, and it's actually more productive than before, and that's exciting.
That was the point. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to be honest, I had a little bit of my doubts about this, because it's a super technical setup now, but apparently she's able to handle it, and everything's going smooth. So that's nice.
I know, man.
So what have you been up to? Selling bikes?
Yeah, we've been emptying out the garage and stuff. I have a stack of bikes that I just need to get sold. And so that was just me committing to getting those sold on Craigslist this week. Yeah, I got some good feedback on, my, SEO questions from last week. I think it does still feel, I still feel like I haven't completely cracked it. One thing I don't think I discussed on the episode, but that is kind of a good example of what feels confusing about it, is if you go to lattice.com. I mean, this company has raised, I think, tens of millions of dollars, which is not necessarily an indicator of a successful business. I mean, we're talking to bootstrappers here, but they have certainly demonstrated that this is a market with a very high upside, obviously. And if you go to lattice.com, their H1 is develop engaged and high performing teams, even when everyone is remote. Cool. Okay. They are going after different types of accounts than I am, but to me, it sort of indicates there is a, and they are one of many: Culture Amp, Tiny Pulse, Know Your Team, et cetera, et cetera. Like, go to Capterra and look for employee engagement category, and like, it's very deep. So the category exists. I know it exists. And then, but if you look at, their title tags: people management, pipe, performance and engagement software. But then if like you use the tools, the Ahrefs or Mangles, whatever, and you look at those search terms: people management, what was the other one? Performance and engagement software, the volume isn't huge. And so I talked to a couple people this week, and each of them were kind of saying, yeah, I don't know. It almost looks like, there are people that are searching for this topic, employee engagement, et cetera, et cetera. It just doesn't look like there are enough people searching for tools to solve this. So I don't know. Like, nobody was coming out and saying, I don't think you have a market, but it certainly doesn't look like, high organic demand. And so two things that I just need to continue to do some research and dig in on. That it could be true that there's just not a lot of organic traffic for this, and Culture Amp, Tiny Pulse, and Lattice and Office Vibe, those companies have, big sales forces. Okay, that could be true. Could also be that, there's just what is it, that the funnel is going to be, dang, I'm not going to be able to focus on those transactional keywords because there's just not enough volume there, and it really is going to be a long road of informational content at the very top, and then walking them through to eventually, giving Headlamp a try. Anyway, I guess, yeah. So to summarize, I still feel like I'm missing something, because the largest players in this area seem to be focusing on terms that just don't look like they have a ton of volume. So I don't know. I'm still trying to put the puzzle pieces together.
That's like, it's always the question, like, are they, like, they are big, but do they know their game? Like, do they know what they're doing?
I definitely want to, I want to say that I have and continue to, hold to the philosophy, don't copy what your competitors are doing, because you don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes. So yeah. I'm not trying to say I'm going to copy all of those things, but there is something to be said for, competitive research. And, when these companies have a couple thousand customers, Slack, Reddit, and Asana. And like historically, I know that there is a very large market of businesses who are concerned about company culture and employee engagement and leveling up their managers. But it is really starting to smell like a lot of direct sales. Or channel partnerships. So that's where that's at. Anyway, and I actually have 2 decent leads on the whole channel partnership thing. 2 of my old friends who are still in that industry at separate companies. I'm like talking with them through possibilities of licensing or white labeling, or hey, if you get clients that's kind of like not necessarily a great fit, send them my way. So we'll see. Just still kind of exploring different places where I might be able to tap into.
What do you mean by channel partnerships? Like just like as you said, like asking friends to send over.
Well, so I mean, I have
leads or something.
Two friends who are senior VPs of sales at this at other companies within this employee engagement industry, and so they're selling to Fortune 500 companies, and they're selling total reward and recognition systems. The whole package.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
And
so it sounds like, I mean, you could be right that this is all very direct sales driven. I'm wondering if there maybe is an opportunity and like going to like a different niche of the market, like not the Fortune 500, but like more like the SMBs. They are probably not problem aware or not even solution aware.
Right.
So the challenge there is probably to get them aware of the problem and then be the first tool they think about.
Yes. Yeah, I think you summarized it. You summarized it very well there. That yes, there's a lot of demand up market where businesses that are 100 employees and more have HR departments, and their entire job is to focus on it, on this problem. But they're going to be looking for an enterprise level solution, which I don't want to provide, at least not at first. And so, there's a tagline of like, founders who care about culture use Headlamp, or founders who care about their people use Headlamp. There's something in there where it's like your company is not big enough yet to warrant an entire HR department who focuses strictly and solely on this problem. But you are the type of founder, or you are the type of founding team that doesn't only care about your product. You don't only care about, code. You really want to have a great company. You want to build a great culture. And that type of founder cares about their people's well-being from the get-go. And this is a tool that'll help you do that. And so, and that'll land with some people, but you're totally right that they're probably not. Yeah, God, they're probably not starting out there thinking about that every single week. I'm kind of depressing myself here.
It's hard to identify a pain they might be looking to solve there in a way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially.
I mean, sure, there is a pain, but like they probably don't think they're probably not looking for a tool right away.
Because it's the sort of thing that you want to be proactive about. And maybe it, when does it flare up? Like when do they when do they realize it? When they lose a really great employee through burnout, or they lose them to, another company that just has like a better workplace culture. Which is what talented people can do. Just, Okay. Well, anyway, man, that's where I'm at on all of that. I'm definitely, feeling okay. Yeah, that's part of the challenge. But I'm super. I believe very, very, very strongly that there is a space in that market for a small team to build a very comfortable business. I actually I know that that's true, because it's done. So I need to figure out like what's my messaging and positioning, and how do I get to that niche of best fit customers.
Is there maybe a way to reduce scope a little bit with your product? Like instead of solving employee engagement, maybe focus on building a good tool for one-on-one meetings or something like that? Like get it more into like a concrete action that people might be doing or want to start, and then provide a good tool for that.
Yeah.
Just like
so
not fully thought through, but just reduce scope basically.
Yes. To answer the question, reducing scope, yes, for sure. But what I'm leaning towards right now, what I've actually even started doing, is not in focusing on one-on-one meetings, but actually in just ripping them out of the product completely. Because nobody, maybe one person, has been like, oh yeah, I love that. Everybody, oh, okay, hey, the check-in thing, that's pretty intriguing. And in fact, like I got an email from someone that I've been, going back and forth with for a while about it. And they were like, we're not going to move over. We're with Know Your Team. We've been with them forever. We're on this amazing, legacy plan. And plus we have all our content in there. However, the check-ins feature is intriguing. And that's something that we don't get from Know Your Team. Not enough to switch, but that's intriguing. And so there was something about that that's like, okay, on the one hand, cool. I'm not going to get them to switch, but could I get them to add on? And then the counterpoint of that is, I don't want to be an add-on. I need to be the thing. When they are thinking about, we're making sure that our team is connected and we're not going to be caught off guard when somebody quits or burns out. Headlamp is the thing that does it. Not Know Your Team is the thing that does it. And then we have this cool little like red, yellow, green product over here. I think it's called Headlamp. I want them to be like, Headlamp is the thing that makes sure our people are sticking around. And so there's a balance in there that I've got to figure out.
But maybe being an add-on is a good way to start. Like it doesn't have to be the end goal, but in my mind, I keep coming back to your like initial version with the Slack integration.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't the worst of ideas. Like just make the check-in thing. Maybe not exclusively for Slack. That's probably not a good idea. But like, use what you have, add the Slack integration on top of it, and then get yourself into the Slack add-ons marketplace and use that as a first step to conquer that bigger problem.
I think you're onto something there. The thing that has in common with the other sort of, I think, product realization, in terms of getting over this barrier, is building the meetings piece of it and showing people you can co-create agendas and it'll track your takeaways from one meeting to the next, et cetera, et cetera. Isn't like, look at what this will help you do. But all of that thing that asks you to do work, to keep doing, it's like to log into the app and add things to it and add things to it and add things to it. And I'm trying to figure out oh, actually, what Headlamp needs to do is make it so that you almost never do anything except for, answer
Mhm.
something in Slack, type something in, and then the manager gets a weekly report automatically generated to their email address. They never even log into the application. And
Mhm.
that is how it beats these other more fully featured things, is not by doing more, but by keeping you from doing almost anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think you're spot on with rethinking the Slack integration, narrowing the scope, and seeing if that sticks somewhere.
Do these bigger platforms, do they have marketplaces and stuff like that?
The other competitors, you mean?
Yeah, the bigger competitors. Like, is there a way to build an add-on for one of those?
Yeah. Not that I've seen anyway.
Yeah.
None of
Yeah.
the ones that I've mentioned so far in this episode, and I can't even think
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah. Fair enough. But I mean, that might have been also a good starting point. Like,
Yep.
just like build
Yeah.
this one thing as an add-on for this
Mhm.
larger platform. But
Mhm.
they're probably not really platforms at this point, right?
No. But what you're describing there is there's an analogy to how I'm talking with my two friends at these huge companies, is basically, their quote platform being their sales team and their menu
Mm-hmm.
list of solutions, and one of those solutions is, oh hey, this company looks like a really good fit for Headlamp, let's pitch them a Headlamp. Like that's the analogy. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
not nearly as scalable as dropping into a platform, but early on, it might lead to some interesting
Yeah.
deals.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, that's me, man. What got a couple other things, but we can come back to if there's time. But I want to hear more about your what are you up to this week?
Yeah. So besides like working on the new features, yesterday we had one of those situations where someone, they didn't really request a feature, but it was like, if we can make this customer happy, that might be beneficial to us. Like, they might
Mm-hmm.
be a good customer, or might even
Mm-hmm.
be a good, like, well, how do you say it? Like, a good friend of user list that
Okay. An
talks
evangelist.
about it. And evangelist, yeah, that's what I was saying. And it once again was the situation where you're thinking like, okay, I have this focus, like with all the companies tracking stuff, like this is our main focus right now. And we should probably just like ignore everything else. But what if we make this one customer happy by adding this one feature that we have on the roadmap anyways? Maybe we should reprioritize and like do this now, and like seize the opportunity. And yeah, it's just like, I don't find this, like, I don't have a good answer to this. It's always, it happens well, let's say once per month that something comes up where you're like, this could be interesting. But on the other hand, I have other priorities, and there's always the temptation to just throw everything away and do this new thing, the new shiny thing.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, I resist and just like stay focused on what I'm already doing. But like, there's always, like, even weeks after, there's always this, what if I had done this or whatever?
Yeah.
And it just drives me crazy. And I ranted about this on Twitter a little bit. And looks like a couple people feel the pain even 15 years into it. They still don't have it figured out.
Yeah.
But there was also some good like advice on this. For example, Michelle Hanson of Geocodio recommended that, well, for one, they have like a rating system for the new features. So they basically figure out like what features are requested by most people and where's the highest impact, and then they focus on those. And the other one was Alex from Jitbit, who was like, yeah, and this was a funny one, like the features or the things that had the biggest impact on our company were never requested by our customers.
Cool.
And that made me reconsider a lot of things.
Wow.
But then again, Michelle was like, yeah, everything we do is somewhat rooted in like conversations with customers. So
yeah,
it sounds like listen to your customers, but don't listen to your customers.
I mean, you know, product management and prioritization is really, really hard. And especially being early, like extremely early stage, like we are, I think it's I don't know. I mean, it's probably a liability to try to focus too much on making it a science, because when you're early on, little things really can have exponential impact.
Yeah, but how do you know which of those little things is the one you should be focusing on?
Mm-hmm. Well,
and especially like how little is that little thing actually when you work on it? Because sometimes it's like this big rabbit hole that it looks tiny and then suddenly it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and you are totally distracted and not focusing on the other important thing that you at some point thought was the way to go.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a fair amount of art. I think that what's helpful for me anyway, when I'm like trying to be disciplined enough to think through that stuff, is to have at least some kind of a framework to think about it through. And RICE, RICE, is one that I often like: reach, impact, confidence, and effort. To and if any of those throws up a major red flag, then it's it's worth pausing for a little bit. But if something comes along and it ticks all those boxes, then
it
might be worth adjusting, being nimble and using your flexibility as the advantage that it is.
Yeah.
But there's no algorithm for this.
Yeah, that's not. I have a feeling there's no simple answer to this. Trust your gut, more or less, I guess.
And totally, for as many people as will talk about how valuable customer interviews are, and they absolutely are, that's just gonna help bubble up a couple other conversations where people are like, no, I had this instinct and followed it to the end, and boom, like, yeah, okay, yeah, for sure,
for
sure, that happens.
I guess what I got out of the conversations on Twitter is that instead of listening to like feature requests, like people asking for specific features, ignore those, but like listen to the problems they have and that's the things they struggle with, and then build a solution for that, and not in a way that like how they request it, but how you think is the best for everyone.
Totally.
And in a way that's already what we were doing. But yeah, sometimes those opportunities just come along and you wonder what to do about those. And it's not just limited to features or product like development, but also like marketing opportunities, co-promotion, like all the things that you could do and like invest some time in, and then some of them might work and some of them might be a waste of time, but you never know before. Like it's just
it's just a never-ending cycle and circle, isn't it?
But for sure,
for some reason we've decided to do this on purpose. What else you got?
That's about it. As I've been out last week, there's not much new stuff to report, so
cool.
Hopefully there will be a better update next week from me.
No, it's great. The last thing that I'm going to try to commit to having out before the next time we record is what I'd asked you about on Slack the other day. Just trying to put up like demo.headlamp.team that anybody can go to, and they're basically logged in as a manager, so that they can see, a fully populated instance. I'm talking to a prospect about getting their company set up so that he can show it to his manager. So he wants them to use it, but he has to pitch it to his manager.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, completely, totally. I can get the account set up for you, and give me everybody's names, and can make it look like ready to go. And then it immediately became clear, there's nothing to demo. Like, it's completely empty, because until you've got some weeks of history, there's just not much there. Okay, so to really show the value here, people need to demo or need to log into a fleshed out, like a full account that's been quote active for several months.
Yeah.
So you gave me some advice on how I should set that up, and I'm gonna try and get that pushed up and out.
It's funny. I'm laughing a little bit because like this is one of those things that came up last week. I think it was Eddie Pinar of what's the name of the company? Well, whatever. He basically mentioned that they released a demo of their platform that you can just use and not like have to sign in and create an account. And Jane was like, "Hey, our UI is super nice, and we should probably do this as well." And I'm like, "Yeah, we should probably do this. It's a good idea, but is it worth the effort? And should we do this right now?" And so far, my answer is no, probably not. But then again, what if this is the missing piece that stops everyone from signing up? Well, probably unlikely, but
trials.
Yeah. So I think it's a good idea if you can make it work with low effort. The only thing that I'd be worried about is maintaining it over time, because you're essentially maintaining two products in a way. Like for every new thing you build, you also have to consider how is this looking in the demo.
Yeah, I mean, I liked your suggestion of just flagging everything behind a environment variable. And so I don't know, definitely am simplifying it, but I do feel like each new thing that I add just be can which environments can do this, and if demo can't, then flag it out and boom, all good, as opposed to maintaining entirely separate repos, keeping them in sync.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the extreme variant of that. But like, even if you keep everything in one application, like if you add a new feature, you have to think about how does the demo sample data look for this, and what are the permissions like, and do I have to step out anything that gets sent out via email or stuff like that. It's just like one more thing to think about.
Yeah, the emailing part of it is what feels like, oh crud, how will I? Yeah, so
I mean, lucky thing with Heroku is you just don't connect an email add-on.
It can try all day.
You can try to send anything, but it will not send.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's it for me. It's good catching up.
Yeah, it was good catching up. See you later today at MicroConf Remote, I guess.
Right on. Okay, see you later, man.
See you. Bye.